This might be one of the most mixed up models I've played with in quite some time. You have in the MST CFX-WS DC1 a very nice scale model. You've got molded plastic bits all over it, wipers that work both ends. Well, when I say work, they swivel. The wipers at both ends. You've got the little door handle as well on the back, the bumper at each end, the sliders, the mirrors. Everything is nicely to scale, and it's quite an attractive machine. But it's mixed up in that it's, as it's a scale model, I find that it's mixed up in a couple of key areas. One, and this is the minor thing, there's no interior. This thing wasn't hugely expensive. It was US $289 pre-ordered as a kit. So you still need to provide your own electronics. Being straight axled as well, it's not a bad start at a scale rig. As with the Trail Runner missing its interior, this thing is also missing just a simple interior, like I haven't got one here to show you, but just a polycarbonate, same as this stuff. You get a polycarbonate interior with a dash and the seats and the rear seats, and even just a tray to just cover inside. I smoked these windows using the Tamiya smoke, which is designed for tinting, and there are the tinted stickers on it too, so it dims it out. But on the windscreen, you can see all the way through. This isn't as apparent as with the Trail Runner, where you could see all the way through. But it's still a minor disappointment. The sliders also they seem a little generic. They don't seem to quite fit this body. But the main mix-up here, I think, is actually underneath. And I'll show you on that one. Is underneath. You've got an axle-mounted servo. The trend for scale rigs these days is to have the servos chassis-mounted. CMS, chassis-mounted servo. When you have it on the axle, you get that lovely parallel movement, and the more parallel you can get your steering arm to the linkage, the better movement you're going to have, because if it's up, you've got your servo that works in an arc, and so it affects the rate. So a nice parallel set of arms like that, perfect. But this is really not a crawler so much as a scaler. Now the foams that it came with, as you can see in this picture, were really, really soft. You can cut foams a variety of ways and get different characteristics from it, but to be cut this much means on the outer part of the circle, near the tread, but on the inside, you have almost no foam. And then the further towards the center you get, there's more foam because of how it was cut. They were ridiculously useless. They may as well have been empty, and they sat so flat. We've got the SCX-10-3 Gladiator wheels because they're beadlocks. They weigh the same roughly as the ones it came with. They'll be very slightly heavier, but almost not. They're a little wide for these, but they look okay. But I've got big fat foams in them, which really helps this thing kind of sit. With the original foams, it was like they were just flat, empty tires, and this thing could not do anything on the rocks. As with the Night Runner, I took this thing out onto my 6 problem course, and wouldn't you know it, 0 out of 6 problems, couldn't do a single one. I then took it to our timed courses where we can do the competition scoring, and again, as with the Night Runner, it kept getting stuck. Now this is a straight axle rig. There's no portals, which is good because this isn't a portaled car in real life. There's no panhard on this, but that goes hand in hand with there being an axle mounted servo. So you don't need a panhard, you just have the standard 4 links front and rear. There's not a huge amount of articulation, but again, this is a model of the Discovery, and although you can modify those things, and they're actually quite an affordable way to get into off-roading and full-scale driving, real-life driving, there's not a lot of articulation despite it being live axle. That's all fine, it's just not very capable. They're pencil-thin tyres, which is also fairly scale, and this could actually pass for a C1 or a Class 1 or a Scale 1 rig if you had an interior or some way of covering the interior so you couldn't see the ground and see the wires through it. The tyres sit underneath the wheel wells or the wheel guards, And it does actually come with polycarbonate wheel wells, which is brilliant. I wish all crawlers came with this because it's really good. The body itself was actually quite fun to assemble. I've got more paints coming for some future builds, but I was running a bit low on paint, so I actually ended up using what was left in several cans to get this color. But it came out looking pretty nice. So that's the body, and I'm using a Killer Bodies light kit. That gives me control over the indicators when I want to flash them and turn them off, and it has reverse and brake and headlights, so that's fine. That's par for the course. You've got a separate transfer case, so you've got your gearbox up the front, separate transfer case, and then out to the diffs with a standard ring and pinion setup. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I went reasonably cheap here. I used the XPR4 receiver, which is one I just had lying around. You just need 2 channels. I've got 3 on this, but you just need 2 channels. Got the WP1060, and I went with the WP5323LV. That's the JX servo low voltage. It's a $20 servo. There's a 16-turn 540 5-pole motor, and that's the interior. So no receiver box. This also had unshielded bearings. So if we're talking about water, I replaced all the bearings with shielded bearings. The only thing I would need to do if I was going to run this through water would be to now waterproof that receiver. Otherwise, it's good to go. It's a shame it didn't come with sealed bearings, but again, it's a lower priced kit. I think it was still overpriced for what you get. Now, a few things that kind of bugged. The advertising material for this rig showed a lovely 5-spoke rim, and it looked like an alloy. It definitely looked like a beadlock wheel. It didn't come with that. They're just these cheap plastic dish wheels. Got them in a drawer, but I'll probably only ever use them as trailer wheels. They weren't very good. The other thing was, it was branded on the Asia T's website. It had the little green Land Rover logo. And although I followed the very good instructions to do this body, and they were nicely done instructions, it told you where to stick everything. The masking was quite comprehensive as well. There was no little green Discovery sticker, Land Rover sticker for the rear or the front. The spot is made for it, but this is an unlicensed body, apparently. It just seems a little bit brazen to rip that design off, kind of like the Night Runner did. You get such a familiar set of lines. This is an iconic vehicle, and they don't appear to have licensed it. Kind of like playing a song on YouTube and singing and dancing along to one that you like that's popular. I think fair use is probably okay, but when you're profiting from it with something like this, I don't know. Maybe they couldn't get the deal and they just went ahead anyway. I actually don't know the specifics, but it would have been nice to have some Land Rover badging for it. Not a big deal. It came with a towing hitch hole. This is my own tow hitch itself, the whole rear assembly. That didn't come with this, so that shouldn't be there for this review actually, sorry. But look, it's a well-finished machine. It's fine for trail use. It's not a very good rock crawler as far as rock crawlers go in this scale. It should be better than what it is, honestly. I think the tires let it down quite a lot, and if we replaced it with some wider, more capable rubber, I think it'd do probably a lot better. The diffs do get hung up on things, but as far as damage goes, there's just a little bit of scuffing underneath from when I was trying it on my course, and the sliders took a bit of a scratching as well. The approach and departure angles really aren't too bad. Again, given this is kind of like a scale machine. I think for what you get, it's good if you're into this kind of car. If you're into the Land Rover Discovery and you want to get your hands on this body, it's not a bad little machine. It's good for light crawling and trail use. It's a single speed. You're not going to have any crazy adventures with it, but maybe that's just fine. Maybe you want to make a little trailer for it and you can have some fun with it. And for what it is, I think that's quite okay. It is a bit of a mixed up machine with the axle mounted servo, no interior, and yet such a pretty body. It doesn't have much capability off-road in its stock trim, but it would be a shame to remove that stock trim because it really does look quite good. I wouldn't recommend this unless you were not hugely keen on crawling and you just wanted to have a little machine to dabble with. As far as the kit build went, it was enjoyable. The MST instructions are actually quite good. So don't just write this off. It's not a bad machine, but being that it's a bit of a mixed up beastie, you will have some customizing to do. You might want to design a little simple 3D printed interior if you're into that. If you're not, maybe I can. I mean, it'd just be half a day's work. I'm sure we could come up with something. But yeah, look, it's a lightweight, basic machine. It's all right for what it is. Just don't buy it expecting to get an SCX-10 kind of experience, because you'll be disappointed. But if you go into it knowing that you just want a simple little trailer rig that's lightweight, and I mean, if you really like this look, go for it. I'll do a write-up of this on my website soon. That's RC-TNT.com, RC-TNT.com. And you can find a link in the description to where I got this from, which was from Asia Tees. I'm not sponsored, but it's just where I got it from. And I'll put a bit more detail into the review in the coming days. So should you buy the MST DC1? If you are a big fan of the Land Rover Discovery, yeah, go for it. It's not bad. It is lacking an interior, and it is lacking rock capability, and it has that front axle mounted servo, but otherwise it's pretty good. Leave me a like if you found this useful, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on what's coming up. We have a host of vehicles, big and tiny, and everything in between, and I'm looking forward to sharing them with you. So thank you for joining me today for this little review, and I'll catch you next time on RC-TNT.